programmed the situation of receiving a loan for my MBA like 10, 12 years ago. That was 7 months before I actually got it. And the whole time I was not visualizing getting the money. I was visualizing living there already where I wanted to live, so it doesn't necessarily need to be the concrete thing, but the result it gives you. I was imagining how I was looking through the window of in Barcelona from my future apartment, and I was overseeing the city. This is what I was imagining. This was my whole imagination. It was a few seconds of perceiving how I'm overseeing the city through this window. And I used all my senses, emotions. I felt how great it was to oversee the city from above. And the interesting thing is, I ended up living at a place that's a bit at a hill. I don't know if you've ever been. It's called Vajkarka, the area. It's not close to the sea. It's towards a hill. But my apartment was actually overseeing towards the hill, not towards the city, although there were also buildings. So there was a part of the city on this side as well, but it wasn't the big side of the city that I was imagining. But I was very close to Park Güell, and I was going there very often. And from this location, you can oversee the whole city. So it doesn't mean that you will see exactly the same thing. Sometimes it happens that you see exactly the same thing when you program. Like another example, I was dating somebody while I was doing the MBA, and for a while I had this dream. Maybe I've seen it from movies or whatever, I can't remember, but I really wanted to experience going in a cabrio and driving past Monaco and Cannes and the south of France. Okay. So I was dating this guy, but very briefly, maybe for 2 weeks before I did the MBA. So he came to visit me. And then he said, okay, let's go next weekend to Luxembourg, which is not on the sea. But listen to this. I had imagined in my mind, not so much the sea, but I had seen from some movie the curvy streets and like the high altitude of the streets in along the French coast. So I had seen how I'm a bit raised, like a small mountain, and driving in curvy streets in a cabrio, and I have a scarf, literally like in a movie. I have a silk scarf around my neck. So what happens? We go to Luxembourg. I take this scarf because I just have it. And I had programmed the night before that he gives me flowers at the airport, which is unlikely. It doesn't happen very often these days that the guy waits for you with flowers at the airport, but he did. So he waits for me with flowers at the airport. And then he had rented a cabrio. He's not from Luxembourg. He rented a cabrio for us just to have fun in the weekend. And we start driving, and I have this scarf, the silk scarf around my neck, and we start driving in a curvy road that it's also a bit mountainous, which is on the way to Luxembourg. So you see, it was not Cannes, there was no sea, but it was what I had created in my mind, which is exactly what happened. It was the curvy street and me driving in a cabrio with this scarf. I don't know, I guess the sea wasn't so important to you. The important is, what do you link behind this experience? What does it mean for you? Because the experience of Barcelona, of this programming, I knew what was behind. I knew in order for me to get there, I had to get the loan. So it was already a connection in my mind. It was not just me observing there, being there on vacation. I had the connection that what this means. And what I'm wearing now, actually, this was my first ever manifestation without the first time I ever watched so this is quite old. The first time I ever watched The Secret, long, long ago. I think it's even before I started practicing the Silva method. And this is the first time I experienced the power of the heart, because I'll tell you what happened. I was living in Sofia then, in Bulgaria, and I passed through a shop of Swarovski, and I saw this thing, and I liked it so much that for the first time my heart wanted it. And I experienced this, I don't know if you've ever experienced this, but like whenever this has happened, like when my heart desires it, things happen. Like there's so much energy in the heart. So my heart made like a puff. It's like it was a small explosion of energy. Like I want this thing. And what happened at that time, I was dating another guy, and we go to Paris, and he gives me this thing. you couldn't have known. The heart energy, when you're programming, is very important. This is what is not, you'll not find this in the Silva method. The Silva method is very technical. It's very technical. Left, right, do this and sense. But it's not telling you how much it needs to be aligned, how much you need to, it needs to make you happy. Your heart needs to emit such an energy that it spills over your body. Have you ever felt this? That you're so happy and you're so, it's almost like when you fall in love. And there's energy spilling from your heart through your body. Have you felt this ever? This is what you need to, if you want to program fast, you need to be able to call this energy, to call this emotion. So imagine the last time maybe when you were in love, how it felt like this energy spreading through your body. Like this is what you need to integrate together with your picture.